Good evening, everybody. My goodness, it feels like an age since I last spoke to you all. I hope you're all well, and I hope, well, here in the UK, certainly in Rochdale, the weather has been amazing today. It's been so mild, warm, very, very much like spring, very spring-like indeed. And it was just, I was able to walk into town without my coat, which is, wow, that's when I start getting very excited that we're getting to the other side of winter. Of course, usually March and April can be a little bit temperamental at times. However, here we are, and I hope you're all well. And I'm sorry I've not been about much this last month. It's been a weird month. It really has. I don't know how you've been feeling about it, but it's been so strange. I think partly because Enrique's been away for whole of February, and we've only spoken a handful of times. We've not spoken very much. But anyway, he's coming back on Saturday. Yay! So I'm very excited about that. And so I feel like I've neglected you all dreadfully. So I hope you can forgive me. It's just I can't really explain. Really, this month is just I don't know where it's gone. I mean, even more so than usual. I know I say this every month, but this is particularly fast and particularly odd. So I'm sorry that I have not been in touch, but I have been thinking of you all, and I'm looking forward very much to meeting or to see who's going to turn up for these. For this egg cup is just phenomenal. I think it's amazing, and you might have noticed that I've got 3 little blocks of lemon-coloured clay out. Apologies again for it being sideways, but I'll put it right when I put it up on Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube tomorrow. So I was thinking it really has to be Easter chicks who are going in this little egg cup. And yes, so let's get started. Let's see what they're going to look like. It's been such a long time since I've actually made chicks of any sort. So I'm just going to put the egg cup just to one side. It's like a mother egg cup that can kind of keep an eye on what's going on. So we'll see how many I can get through tonight. But yes, I mean, Easter this year is so far away. I mean, it's sometime in April. And Valentine's Day, what happened to that? That just kind of disappeared this month. I haven't made any little romantic creatures, which is very unlike me. It's been just a very odd month and a very odd year so far, but hopefully things will get back on track soon. Anyway, but I'd like to hear all about your news as well, what you've been up to, how you're finding the year, if it's just me that's, fallen into some kind of weird time slip, which is entirely possible. That's one thing, actually, I find when I'm on my own in the house, which I don't mind. I mean, I'm very used to my own company, very happy in my own company. But it's a bit sort of, it's empty without Enrique. Although, to be honest, we both have so much that we get on with. We have so much that we do, that we don't spend an awful lot of time together because we're off doing other things, but we make the most of the time that we do spend, which I think is good. But yes, it's been particularly strange, and I have fallen asleep on the sofa, I should say, not fallen on the sofa, fallen asleep on the sofa far more times than I care to remember. I just sleep so well on the sofa. That's the thing. Does anybody else have this? Well, is it a problem? I don't know. Sometimes I get the best night's sleep when I'm actually on the sofa. And I think there's a portal on it. I don't watch television or anything, so I'm usually just sort of with my feet up and an audiobook on and knitting. And I often find myself ending up sleep knitting, which isn't good. I've had to undo so many stitches and so many rows as a result of just switching to the wrong part of the pattern in my sleep. Oh my goodness. So I find myself falling asleep on the sofa, not moving, like literally not moving for hours, and then maybe waking up any time between 3, 4 or 5 in the morning. I always make it to bed, but only for a couple of hours. It's odd. I think I'm just a bit discombobulated without Enrique being here. That's my excuse anyway. You might not want to tell him any of this. Please keep it to yourself. Because he's usually very good about making sure that I get to bed at a sensible time. But he's not been here to hound me. So, not that he hounds me. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Just to keep an eye on me, and look after me. Right. I have now conditioned the clay for the first Easter chick. Now, this has been, as I say, such a long time since I've made them. So here's hoping. Now, as far as the position, look at the size of them compared to the egg cups. I'm obviously going to have one that's clambering up, and probably more than one actually, and a couple on the outside sort of helping them in. So this is going to be the one clambering up on the outside. I'm just going to shape the legs so that he's sort of straddling on the way up. And of course, I've got to also make sure that I pinch out a little bit for his little tail, because their little tails are so cute. It's very similar to have the tails for the penguin chicks. They have very similar tails. So that's the thinking. Yeah, multitasking. Clearly my brain is going, no, you need to concentrate on this. You need to work out what you're doing before you start carrying on with the bletherings. So, right, okay, so that's not quite exact, but it'll do. And I'll just make sure that the legs are. This is the other thing. I mean, I do find that the wee creatures do evolve over time. I mean, you've seen the new sort of new style of bunnies. Not so new anymore. Gosh, how long have I been making them? The small ones without chops? Must be over a year now, anyway. But yeah, so quite often I'll put a little, you know, I'll define their legs more, for example. So I just need to see how this wee chick's going to turn out now. As I say, it's been such a long time since I've made them. It's strange kind of feeling my way with them again. I suppose that's the best way to put it. Ah, right, okay, now I can see. Now, this is why I love polymer clay, because I can start to see the shape, you know, the sort of the sense. I'm getting a sense for this wee guy now. Just with a few indentations on the eyes. And of course, he's going to be sort of leaning over the top. I think he'll be peering in to the top of the egg cup. We'll see how he goes. You see? So he's going to be like that. We'll have to put one leg up a little bit further so that he's sort of scrambling in over the top. And this one can be a little bit further down. And yeah. And now what really brings them to life, I think, is, oh, and I must apologize. I'm not sure. You're probably, I don't know who's on the call. I don't know how many people are there, and I don't know whether anybody's actually making any comments, but I have, this has happened before. I have a slow connection whilst I'm doing this on my phone. So it's not letting me see anything terribly much. So I promise you, I'm not ignoring you if you are putting anything or writing anything. Hopefully everybody can hear and it's all working out all right. But I'm honestly not trying to ignore, but it may feel like that because I'm just not seeing anything very much at all. Right, I will mark the legs and bring it down so he has a bit of a bum cleft as well. And the same on this side. It all gets just a little bit, you know, risque at this point. But it'll be hidden by the front of the egg cup, so I'm not too bothered. It's so important to kind of get it right underneath, even though you won't be seeing it. Do you know what I mean? That's something which the bee creatures are very good at. Right, so that's the leg, which is going to be down a little bit more. I can see a little air bubble there. Just get rid of that. And then this leg's going to be up a little bit more. So this little chick also needs to have a little crease in the back of the neck, because they tend to have that, don't they? And I tend to just, you know, lightly press with this fabulous tool, one of my essential must-haves or must-use tools for this sort of thing. And that kind of creates more of a definition between the neck and the rest of the head, which you'll just have to imagine that it's quite fluffy, even though it's not at the moment. Right, so I'm just going to lay him face down at the moment, because then I'm going to use this. Not used this clay for a long time, actually. This is, I think, some that I made up a while ago. That's the joy of polymer clay. It doesn't ever really go off. It can get a little stiff sometimes, but it's very easy to reconstitute it, and that's what I'm doing here. And I think because it's not the right shade of orange for the feet, you can see the difference between the yellows, but all my Easter chicks, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'll need to go back and look through my Flickr page, but I think my Easter chicks tend to you know, have sort of orangey beaks rather than yellowy beaks. So I shall stick with this colour, and I'm just going to roll out the clay at the moment to the thickest thickness, and this is just so that I can cut the right size. This might be too big. Easter chicks, well, they have quite thin, they don't have big beaks like the penguin chicks, do they? Actually, penguin chicks don't have big beaks. What am I talking about? No, I think chick bills are quite sharp and quite sort of, you know, they're not that wide. Again, I'll need to go back in and have a look. You know, the amount of times I go back into my, I think even that might be a little bit too big. Yep, that's looking more like a bill than a beak. So what I'll do is I'll use a slightly smaller cutter. It's probably too small, so I'll do the next size down. Sorry. Reaching over the top. These pack pens are fabulous, by the way. If you work with polymer clay a lot, I can't recommend them enough. They're fabulous. All right. Yeah, I think that's going to be a better shape. Yeah, so the amount of times, I think that's what I started saying before I squirreled myself and distracted myself, but the amount of times I go back into my Flickr gallery and use it as a reference, you know, because there's some creatures in there that I've forgotten I've made. So if somebody says, oh, could you do me this? I'm like, I think I can, but let me just go back and make sure. Because most wee creatures are in there, which is, it's always fun to go back through. I've not done a sort of from the archives post for a while, have I? Must do that. Must do that. Right, okay, I think that's a better, that's a better shape, size. And what I will do as well is just indent slightly bigger. I'm going to push in, create more of an eye socket for this one, so that it looks like a proper chick, basically. And you got to make sure that his chin isn't too fat, but it's out just enough. Gosh, sorry, I'm very conscious I'm not making much sense as I'm speaking here, sorry. Do you know, I think it's because I've really not been speaking to very many people at all. It makes me sound awfully antisocial, but Enrique obviously normally gets a lot of the burble that you're getting now, but with him being away, of course, I've not been able to save up the burbling for him. Right, okay, I think we're getting there now. Let's put the eyes. This is going to be where the eyes will go. So just making a sort of a little pilot hole. And I will also just blend up the beak so that it's a bit more flush with his head. There we go. And by doing it on each of the 4 planes, kind of creates more of a sharp beak for him. All right, this one's turning into, he's being rather cute, I have to say, because I'll need to now make his, bit of flob. Of course, some things never change. Time may be doing something screwy, but flob will persist eternally. I suppose it's good to have some constant things in life, even when time is just rushing by. Right, okay. So that's the basic shape of the penguin. Penguin? It's not a penguin chick. Penguin, like chick, Easter chick. I'm just making sure that his profile works. Yep, that's looking okay. Because of course you can see exactly what I'm seeing, which is odd. Well, is it odd? No, it's not really. I'm just going to sit him up like that while I get, dum dum dum, the eye box. I don't know whether Alison is on the call, but I know how much she enjoys this particular moment in proceedings. These are my between 2.5 and 2.7 millimeter in diameter eyes. Actually, do you know, I think he could maybe do with them being slightly bigger, actually. No, they'll be fine. Right. Okay, and now the process of finding two which are of the same size. And now normally my nose is just about touching this box, but I think you would just get a very odd view if I did that here. So yeah, they're looking. Oh, these beads are pretty good actually. I had them ordered specially in from a local company in Slowate, spelt Slaithwaite, near Huddersfield, and they were great. It's where I've got some of the crystals, including those selenite towers. Do you remember the icebergs that I made some time ago? That's where I got it from. It was like a crystal warehouse, but they also have a jewellery shop arm as well. Can't remember the name of it. Happy to give the name for anybody who wants to know. Right, so let's just position it lightly. Oh, and other news, today I got earring wires, yay! So I must show you, actually, just before we finish tonight, I will show you that I have actually been keeping busy, even though you've not heard from me much. Where is the eye socket in this? There we go. I was looking for the hole. I grabbed the hole with the edge of the tweezers, and that means that the hole doesn't show when the eye goes in. Right, there we go. Yeah, so earring wires are here. I've got all the fixings and findings, I think they're called. All the findings for making stitch markers, whether they've got like a solid ring or a clip ring, that you'll be able to have the choice of all of that. Right, just need to gently, carefully push the eye in. So yes, still trying to work out the best way to do it. It might be that I do it in my shop. That might be the simplest way, and then just have variations. Because I'm using sterling silver earring wires, so they were a bit more expensive than obviously the hoops and things and the clips for the stitch markers. But the basic, it'll be still sheep, cows, piglings, cats, hearts, whatever it is, it's still going to be that. Yeah, it'll just be a case of deciding whether you want a stitch marker or earrings or whatever. So it is happening, just rather more slowly than I had perhaps hoped. And also anybody here who is waiting for the winter trees creatures, I will have them all finished by the end of the month. I am sorry that they've taken longer than expected, but as I say, this month, I think that's the only way that I can describe this month. It has been manic. Not only, well, to be honest, most of it has been manic without, the creatures have been waiting very patiently for me to sort of stop being quite so manic. But yes, the music has become quite busy and with lots to do, and it's all very rewarding, and I'm very glad I'm doing it, but it does take me away rather from this, and I love this. I do love this. So yes, I think there's a happy balance to be struck, and I need to come back to the wee creatures basically. Oh, it's not that one. Right, okay, now I'm going to make their, how should I do their feet before? Can you remember? Gosh, this is what I mean. It's like, you know, I've made so many, sometimes I forget actually how I make them. And I'm pretty sure that with, you know, this is for feet, I'm talking about claws and things. Or their talons, I suppose they are. Let's have a look. Because I think I have made them with, you know, it's not like the penguin chicks who have more sort of flipper type things. Chicks, what I'm doing at the moment, sorry to leave you there. I am just having a quick look. Right, okay. Yes, right, I remember now. Okay, so it's three little, that's probably too big again actually, but that's too small. So I need the Goldilocks option, which I think is there. Right, sorry. Oh. Okay, so I'm cutting for each foot. Yeah, chicken feet. Do they have chicken feet? Chicken? Okay, I'm sure somebody will be going, no, it's not feet, it's something else, and I can't think. So apologies and thank you. If anybody is correcting me, please do. So what I'm going to do now is roll out sort of each claw, if you like, individually. There's going to be a few ways of doing this because he's not going to be standing. This one's clambering up the top, you see. So I just need to make sure that the edge of the claw of the foot, toes, chicken toes. Do chickens have toes? I hope so. I like the idea of chickens having toes. That would be really cute. Right, so just again, rolling out quite thinly so that they create sort of like a chicken foot. Now I know that they have a backwards foot, but, well, real chickens do. Maybe Cornish chickens don't quite so much. All right, so now where's he going to go? So he needs one that's going to be facing that way, and the other one can be facing out the way. Right, so one more to go. And then I'll need to roll out the clay and make a couple of wings as well. Right. So that was, again, another pat pen. It's fabulous. I can give you the link if anybody wants to find out more about them, but they are a great way for cutting out, for keeping uniformity, I suppose, in sizes. These sort of cutters are all well and good for big things, like these are my wing cutters, for example. You see, look, that's half a butterfly. That's what I see when I see them together like that. I see half a butterfly. And speaking of butterflies, I've been making butterflies as well. I just need to cut out their wings now. At the moment, they're kind of in that halfway stage. So they are, I mean, they look cute, but they're not flying yet. So there will be some flying butterflies coming along very soon as well. And I had a few people who wanted one. So if anybody would like one, I've got 6. 3 are spoken for, I think, but the other 3 will either go in my shop or you can let me know if you want one and I'll put one aside. Right. So now, so anytime you see one of my Easter chicks, this is what goes into each one of them, because it's very important to make sure that the feet, toes, chicken toes, are as accurate as they can be within the Quernus world rules sort of thing. Right, so now before I put his feet on, I'm going to roll out a little bit of clay and come up with some wings for him as well. Right, now I think there are going to be 3 Easter chicks, because I don't know whether you've noticed, but the wee creatures come in odd numbers. It's either singles. Occasionally you'll get couples, but most often they'll come in 3 if they're clambering about on something. There's something very pleasing about there being about having 3s. I don't know why, but they just prefer to travel in 3s or 2. clamber about on things in threes, I shall say that. Right, I'm just going to roll this out as well, and I hope it won't be quite so thick. Because obviously he'll need his little wings to hold on to the edge of the egg cup. Internal consistency, very important with for the wee creatures. And you know, my flob obsession extends to making sure that even the clay, which I'm not going to cut out, there was a little bit of flob on there, and it just had to go. Anyway, right, we'll use this cutter, which has a little knobble, but that's actually quite handy to know which edge is which. And look, there's a little bit of an air bubble as well. Right, there we go. Right, so now I have to cut, give him his feathers. Is it him? I think this one is. So this has to be done in opposite ways, because obviously sometimes I'll cut them both one way, or I'll turn that over so that when I turn it back, because for whatever reason, well, obviously because I'm right-handed, I cut from this side, and he gets 3 little feathers at the edge. There we go. And this one, I've flipped it upside down. So am I right? Am I right in doing this? No, it needs to be on this side. Ignore me. Again, this is where I find it quite fascinating what my process is, because I often don't know until I'm telling you guys. I let my hands get on with it, basically. Anyway, so if I've got one wing pointing that way, I need one wing pointing this way. So I'll cut it from below. 1, 2, 3. For some reason, it's not so easy to do it from that way, but there you go. Clear them out the way. And then I usually just use the edge of the cutter just to trim up any rough edges. There we go. That will do. Now let's see where the wings are going to be. So they're going to be hooked over the edge. So they'll need to be, and this is what I do. Sometimes I'll find myself sitting in the workshop mimicking the action that I want the creatures to be doing. Because that's going to be his left wing, you see, comme ça. That's going to be his right wing. But they need to be basically hooking over the top. So it's going to be a sort of a slightly skewed, not skewed out. It's going to be slightly splayed out. That's a little rough bit there. So that means that the edge will need to be at an angle so that it sits at a, I don't know, 60-degree angle. That's maybe not the right angle, maybe about that, to the body. And I'll do that with a small cut to diagonal. There we go. So by putting that on there, you see how it's coming out? It's like he's singing. But it also needs to be coming up and over. So it needs to be at a slight angle again. And I'll put both of them on first. I'm not going to join them in quite yet, like as in use my extender medium quite yet. So same drill on this side, but the opposite way around, which can be a mind job, trust me. Just a small sliver out at a wedge. And then, yeah, so he's kind of, he wants to give you a hug. Right. Now, hopefully, before I put him on and shape the wings over the edge, I need to put his paws on. Paws, they're not paws. Tell me they're not paws. Right. So there'll be one that's kind of sitting, that'll be gripping or holding on to the edge. You see where I'm, yeah, it probably needs to come back a little bit. And this one will be more of a backwards one. I wonder if these feet are big enough But there's definitely flob. Oh, sorry. I went way over in the wrong direction there. And I've got no way of finding out if I am. Hopefully I'm back central, aren't I? Right, let's bring this chap over. That will help more. Right. So this is where I have to press quite hard to get the right shape. And I kind of push the wee Easter chick into position without trying. See that? He's got a toe bent back. Right, that needs to, right, so I'll just ease him off, peel away that foot, bring it out a little bit more to the side. There you go, that'll be better. All right, yeah, I didn't want him to have a sore foot. Okay, so you can see now, this is where I need to just kind of have shape the wing over the edge so that he actually looks as though he's sort of hooking into, clambering up and pulling himself up with his wings. Smoothing off the edge. Now I know that I haven't put extender medium, that wonderful glue-like thing, but because I'm pushing him quite a lot, not really much need. That'll be well joined. But I don't want him sort of hooking on the way that the mice would hook on, for example, because it's a bird and they have a very different way of doing things. So there you go. And I'm just trying to smooth out as well the edges of the wings that came from the cutter so that it's more organic. And the shape is a better shape. And as I'm working this, I'm securing his wing to his body. There we go. And here I will blend it. There we go, that's better. And again, smoothing out just with my thumb. And making sure that he's holding on tightly enough with his wings. He's a sweetheart, he really is. And then I will, look at that, look. Does that not just make you smile? So I will just finish wiping away any flob. I'm also needing to reshape his little tushy, his little tail a little bit more. That's just to give it a bit more definition. And you can see how the slight, in fact I'll give his thigh, top of his leg, a little bit more of a shape as well. Because it doesn't matter really how lightly I try and handle the clay, and I do handle it as lightly as I can, it will still malform, deform. So it's about sort of plumping him back up again. Right, that's good. Because you see how his foot is not as unnatural as it was. He's trying to get purchase with his toes. There we go. Right, we have one little chick peering over the edge. Now, what time is it? Oh gosh, it's 9:25. Where does the time go? Right, I'm gonna have to finish the other two. Gosh, I thought I might have got through at least one more. But I'll get on with the other one, because I suspect that there'll be one inside. You never know, there might be even more than 3. There might be 5, because they do come in in odd numbers, as I say. So, but yes, he's definitely up there. I think there may be another one sort of waiting underneath, sort of watching him and hoping that he's safe up there. and then there will be one on the inside peering up from down there, so that's for sure. And there must be another one on the other side. There could be lots. There could be lots. I'm warning you now. Be prepared for there to be lots of little Easter chicks clambering about on this. So thank you. It's been just fabulous speaking to you again, even though I can't see any comments, and I'm very sorry if if it looks as though I'm ignoring you. And I'm sorry that I've not been about much in February. February, I mean, really, it feels as though it should only have been a week or so, no more than that, but apparently it was. So I'll post pictures of this little chap in the morning once he's got a few friends clambering about as well. And thank you very much for joining me. And I hope you're all well. And I've been thinking of you. All right, you take good care. I'll speak to you soon. Bye.